2,000 years ago, one man held the world in his palm. Marcus Aurelius stood at the peak of the Roman Empire, with millions of lives waiting on his word. Yet, while the city slept under the weight of his decrees, he sought no audience. He walked away from the marble halls and the flickering torches of the guard. He entered a small, dark tent, the canvas flapping in the night wind. Outside, the empire hummed with ambition, intrigue, and the relentless pressure of borders to defend. Inside, the world narrowed to the edge of a desk and the scratch of a quill on parchment. He did not use this time to map new conquests or calculate the reach of his legions. He sat in the dim light, focused entirely on the only territory he could truly govern. He ignored the title of emperor. He ignored the power that could move armies across continents. He reached for his journal and began to write. He was not interested in ruling the masses. He was building a fortress within his own mind, brick by brick, word by word, proving that absolute authority over the world meant nothing if he could not first command himself. The sun had not yet touched the horizon when he woke. The air in the tent held the bite of the night, a sharp contrast to the lingering heat of his blankets. Every muscle in his body signaled for stillness, for the comfort of remaining hidden from the demands of the coming day. He did not yield. He pushed the covers aside, stepped onto the cold floor, and walked to the desk. This was the first victory of the morning. He opened the journal and stared at the empty page. He did not seek comfort here. He began to visualize the hours ahead, stripping away the illusion of a peaceful day. He saw the faces of the men who would seek to manipulate him. He heard the voices of those who would offer praise while harboring resentment. He acknowledged the inevitable arrogance of his peers and the exhaustion that would settle into his bones by noon. He whispered to the silence, "The people I meet today will be meddling, ungrateful, and arrogant. But I cannot be angry, for they are my kin." He repeated the words until they became a shield. By the time the first light hit the tent canvas, he was no longer a man waiting for chaos. He was a man prepared for it. The morning silence vanished the moment he stepped into the light. A messenger waited, breathless, with word of a collapsed frontier and broken supply lines. The room grew heavy with the expectation of a violent outburst. Marcus stood motionless. He listened to the facts, his eyes scanning the map not for blame, but for the next necessary maneuver. He leaned forward, fingers tracing the ink lines of the report, and asked, "What is the next necessary step?" There was no anger, there was no scream. The room exhaled. Every interruption became a laboratory for his resolve. By midday, the pressure shifted to the arena. He took his seat at the Colosseum, the air thick with the roar of a crowd hungry for violence. Below, the sand turned red. The spectacle demanded his presence, his reaction, his participation in the collective frenzy. He did not look away, yet he did not join the bloodlust. He sat in the royal box, his gaze fixed on a scroll, retreating into the cold, quiet logic of philosophy. He remained an island in a sea of noise. The chaos crashed against him, but he did not break. He proved that a man could sit at the center of a storm and remain entirely untouched by the wind. The heavy doors clicked shut, sealing out the echoes of the city. He dismissed the guards, the final layer of protection falling away until only the man remained. He sat in the dim light and opened the journal, the quill trembling slightly in his hand. This was the true battleground. He did not write of triumphs or the expansion of borders. He wrote of the cracks in his own spirit. Did I lose my temper with the advisor? Was I distracted by the luxury of the palace? Did I treat the servant with the same respect as the senator? Each question was a blade, cutting away the pride that had accumulated during the day. He did not seek to justify his actions. He recorded his failures as cold, hard data. He pulled a small, worn object from his desk, a token of mortality, and placed it on the page. He stared at it until the reality of his own death became absolute. The crown was temporary. The empire was a shadow. The only thing that possessed weight was the integrity of his choices. He breathed in the silence, recognizing that the most difficult territory to govern was not the world, but the space between his own thoughts. He was the judge, the accused, and the architect of his own clarity. The centuries fall away, yet the war remains. We wake to the same internal struggle, though our battlefields have shifted from Senate halls to the glass screens in our palms. We check our phones before our feet even touch the floor, surrendering our focus to the world before we have built our own. Marcus reminds us to reverse the flow. Do not let the digital noise dictate your mood. Build your resolve before the world demands your attention. Focus on the task, not the chaos. When you fail, do not spiral into despair. Simply return to your principles. You cannot control the economy, your boss, or the unpredictable shift of the city, but you own the response. Your life is not a collection of accidental events, but a series of deliberate choices. Stop looking outward for validation or relief. At the end of the day, do not ask if you were successful by the standards of others. Ask only if you remained yourself. The greatest empire you will ever govern is not a country, not a company, and not a legacy. It is your own mind. Rule it or be ruled by it.